You see it everywhere now. The guy in the coffee shop with the Apple Watch and the AirPods Pro, and the designer jeans sitting across from a financial advisor because he has $73,000 in credit card debt. The woman with the Instagram full of vacation photos who has not saved a dollar for retirement. The colleague who drives a Range Rover but gets anxious checking his bank account. They are not stupid. They are not irresponsible. They are trapped in something most people do not even have a name for. They are spending money they do not have to prove they are worth something. Let me explain how this actually works in your brain. Your parents had it easier, maybe not easier, different. In their generation, status was simple. You got a job. You stayed at that job for 30 years. You had a house. You drove the same car for 7 years. Status was slow and local. Your neighbors knew you. They knew your salary. They knew if you were doing okay. There was no pressure to perform for strangers. Now, there are 8 billion strangers, and they all have access to your life. The moment you post something, a vacation, a new outfit, a nice meal, you are in competition. You are sending a signal. I am doing well. I am successful. I matter. And because social media algorithm rewards the signal that gets the most reactions, the signal has to get bigger, louder, more expensive. So people start spending, not out of greed, out of fear, the fear of falling behind, the fear of being seen as unsuccessful, the fear of not mattering. Here is the thing that nobody wants to admit. People at the top have figured something out and they are not telling you. The wealthy do not spend money to look wealthy anymore. They spend money to opt out of looking wealthy. They go dark on social media. They stop buying status symbols. They wear plain clothes. They drive normal cars. They disappeared from Instagram. Why? Because once everyone can buy the designer bag stops signaling wealth. So the people with actual money moved the goalpost. The new status symbol is privacy, is opting out, is not having to perform. A $25,000 annual health optimization protocol with private doctors and blood work and hormone panels, you cannot fake that on Instagram. A continuous glucose monitor is medical, but it signals discipline and access. A $10,000 leather jacket is old. Knowing someone who can get you into a restaurant that is not on the internet, that is new money. The wealthy learned that you cannot compete by buying the same stuff, so they started buying things no one else can see. Access, experiences, relationships, health metrics, privacy. And everyone else, everyone not actually wealthy, is still buying the visible stuff, still performing the old version of wealth that stopped working a decade ago. So what happens? Expenditure cascades. This is the term researchers use for when consumption at the top creates pressure throughout the entire income spectrum. When someone making $5 million a year buys a $3 million home, it raises what people making $500,000 a year think a nice home should cost, which raises what people making $100,000 think a nice home should cost, which raises what people making $50,000 think they need to save for a down payment on. And all of it is unaffordable. All of it is creating debt. All of it is based on comparison to people who have more money. 61% of Americans reported financial stress in 2025, not crisis. Stress, the tension of constantly evaluating whether they are measuring up, the mathematics of their life not adding up because they are trying to afford the wrong things. Studies show that people with less than $5,000 saved report significantly higher rates of depression and anxiety than people with $100,000 or more. But here's the thing, the income difference between those groups is smaller than you think. Many of the people in the second group started in the first group. The difference was not money. The difference was what they chose to spend it on. One group spent money to look like they had money. The other group spent money to actually have money. Now, let me talk about the actual cost, because it is not just mental. If you make $80,000 a year and you decide you need a $7,500 purse because it signals status, that is $14,000 a year gone before your real-life expenses start. Times 30 years before retirement, and you have spent $420,000 on things that have no resale value, things that will sit in a closet, things that no one will remember. If you make $100,000 a year and you finance a $60,000 car to look successful, you are making a decision that costs you $80,000 over the life of the loan because of interest and insurance and maintenance. $80,000. That is more than many people make in a year. If you are one of the 54% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, the designer clothes and the status purchases are not luxury. They are the reason you are staying broke. Here is what the research keeps showing me. The gap between how wealthy people actually live and how people trying to appear wealthy live is enormous, and it is growing. The wealthy are invisible, boring, private, saving aggressively, not on Instagram, not taking vacations to post about, not buying status symbols, not trying to prove anything. People trying to appear wealthy are visible everywhere, financing everything, in debt, stressed, performing constantly, buying things to signal status, taking vacations specifically to post photos, staying broke. And the cruelest part? The performance does not work. It never worked. People who do not know you do not care what you own. People who do know you are just comparing your status to theirs and raising their own spending to compete with you. You are creating a cascade. You are pushing everyone around you to spend more than they can afford just by trying to prove you are keeping up. The actual wealthy figured out that the performance is a trap, that opting out is the only way to actually build wealth, that the freedom to not care what anyone thinks is the only status symbol that actually matters. And then there is the psychological cost nobody calculates. Constantly performing, constantly measuring yourself against strangers, constantly upgrading, constantly worried about being seen as unsuccessful. Do you know what that does to your mind over 30 years? Researchers found that perception-driven financial stress about status, about measuring up, about appearing successful, can spiral into substance abuse, high blood pressure, heart problems, and chronic anxiety. Not from actual poverty, from the perception of falling behind. You are literally damaging your health to perform a status that is invisible to everyone who matters and completely obvious to everyone watching. So here's what I want to tell you. Stop. Just stop. Stop looking at what everyone else has. Stop calculating your worth based on what you own. Stop financing things to prove something to people who do not know you and would not care if they did. This is not about being poor or not spending money. This is about spending money on things that actually matter to you instead of things that signal status to strangers. The wealthiest person in the room is almost never the one trying to look wealthy. It is the person who is boring enough to not care. Get the car that gets you where you need to go. Get the clothes that fit and are comfortable. Get the house that is stable. Invest the difference. Build the actual wealth instead of the performance of wealth. Because the visible stuff, the stuff you bought to look successful, it does not make you successful. It makes you broke. And it makes everyone around you feel poor. The wealthy already figured this out. They stopped playing the game. So they are getting richer while you are getting stressed about how your bathroom tile compares to your friend's bathroom tile. Drop a comment. What is the most expensive status thing you have ever bought that you now realize was pointless? Because I guarantee you are not alone in this. Millions of people are broke because they are too busy looking rich to actually become rich. Next video, how the wealthy actually build money while everyone else is performing. Because once you understand the system, you can stop playing it. Subscribe.